Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahawah, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi, BAHASHAM, Rahahakurash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders at Greatmillstone who rule well. And as always, we give peace and salutations to the elect. News and prophecy, where we link the things happening worldwide to the Holy Scriptures so that the elect can be fed, edified, all right, with the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding from on high, all right, that would root them in the faith, all right, of what's written in the volume of the book. As the scriptures say, the just will live by faith. As a matter of fact, when you get the book of Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, and the 4th verse, it says, behold, his soul, which is speaking to the ruler of this current world, of this age, all right, which are the biblical Edomites, you see. And how do we know that? Well, when you read this vision, you know, Habakkuk is complaining about how the Lord will end, you know, all of this, you know, confusion, you know, the heathen ruling, you know, unjust rulership, you know, how long, Lord, why are you allowing this? You know, when are you going to end it? Well, the Lord gives Habakkuk a vision on how he would end it and the nation that would be ruling at the time that he ends it. And we know that the scriptures say that Esau is the end of the world, which Esau's pride will be heightened to a level of absolute madness before the end came. And he would operate in a very deceptive manner to where if you're not rooted in the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding from on high, as it says in Isaiah 33, let's get that real quick. Isaiah 33, I'll start at 5. It says, and Yahawah, BAHASHAM Yahawashi, is exalted, for he dwelleth on high. He hath filled Zion with judgments and righteousness. And it starts with us receiving his word. But as we go from glory to glory, we know the Lord is going to be with us and ultimately bring judgment on earth, because the world has been hijacked, right, by an elite group of Edomites, you know, and you have these other different heathen nations who have joined hand in hand with them, and they've set up a corrupt code to where they're able to get away with war crimes, you know, all kind of crimes that they've placed upon humanity, you know, in which, you know, we ourselves suffer from some of those crimes, you see. But we're not going to get judgment and justice from this man and his rulership, because none of his plans have anything to do with the well-being of you Israelites. You see, it says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time, and the strength of salvation, the fear of Yahawah, BAHASHAM Yahawashi, is his treasure, you know, which the fear of the Lord, we know in this world, all right, is going to get you ostracized, you know, because the fear of the Lord is gonna, you know, keep you from bowing the knee to the image of Baal and accepting of this man's image, his mark, and everything that comes with him. So we have the gospel of everlasting life, which is directly opposed to the plan of the NWO. Now, Habakkuk 2 and 4 says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. All right. Again, he's not an upright man, as we're going to get to in this very lesson. All right. They are setting up a scenario where, you know, you have this Trump talking point of restoring free speech, saving, you know, America from the agenda of the left, which, you know, you couldn't speak out against corruption. You couldn't talk against that, you know, juice without, you know, having your videos taken down. There was a war on free speech with the last regime, you know, the Biden administration, you know, which we know the elites control all of this. But now you see the talking point of Donald Trump you know, talks about restoring free speech while moving to muzzle those he disagrees with. So again, you have this devil operating in a very deceptive manner, right? Let's go back here. So behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. We're going to have to live by faith, all right, as, you know, this system crumbles, as, you know, these harsh draconian measures come down, all right, we know the Lord is going to be with us, you know, wherever the elect are, you know, the men, women, and children whom the Heavenly Father have foreordained to be delivered, all right, he's going to work a miracle and put you in positions to make the right decisions through your faith. Even if some of us have to go back to the spirit world, we know and understand that death isn't the end all be all. So again, not bowing the knee to the image of Baal is the goal, right? Not bowing the knee, you know, and reverencing this man and thinking that what he's doing is okay. And he's getting ready to come with all kind of deception to where, as it says, very elect. Let's see if I can find that. Matthew 24:24. For there shall arise false messiahs, or false anointed ones. Just because you see false, all right, Christ here, the word Christ goes back to a Greek word that means anointed. Okay, but they're going to arise false anointed, which Donald Trump is putting himself in the position of a false anointed. You know, the talking point of artificial intelligence being used to save the world from all of its issues. These are all false anointed, false saviors, and false prophets, okay, which Donald Trump, you know, proclaimed himself to be this big Christian. He's going to make America Christian again. And you so-called Christians fell for it, right? Well, as he's, you know, been in office, he's done nothing but pass forth legislation, which some of them, you know, like the talking point of a man not being able to play women's sports. You know, a lot of people are focusing on those talking points, but they're not really paying attention to what the devil is saying. So you actually have to listen to this devil. All right? When Trump says things like he wants, you know, AI, you know, America to be the #1, you know, to lead the world, all right, in this AI race. We have to, you know, compete with China. As a matter of fact, all right, this is an article I have here, and we'll go right back to those scriptures, but Trump declares that the NWO is dead to shocked Davos crowd, all right, Davos crowd. Now, we know Davos is where these devils meet in Switzerland, which is the highest point in Europe, all right, you know, the revival of Rome. Davos meaning son of David, you know, where these, you know, these elites meet up and have their councils. They're throwing up enchantments, sacrifices are going on. But Trump called in and pretty much, you know, he didn't say the NWO is dead, all right. But when you listen to what he's basically balking about, what he's declaring is that basically, you know, America is going to leave off from this globalist agenda, and we're going to make America great again. As a matter of fact, one of the things he said here, and Alex Jones is happy as hell, right? A lot of Edomites are, you know, of the opinion that this is, you know, we're back, you know, like those two bums in the movie, you know, Coming to America, Mortimer, we're back. You know, Esau is of the opinion that we're back. Let's see, there was one that he said here. Here we go.
Make the United States a manufacturing superpower and the world capital of artificial intelligence and crypto.
See that? So people here, you know, a lot of people are focusing on this aspect where, you know.
With another historic executive order this week, I also ended the weaponization of law enforcement against the American people and, frankly, against politicians, and restored the fair, equal, and impartial rule of law My administration has taken action to abolish all discriminatory diversity, equity, and inclusion nonsense. And these are policies that were absolute nonsense throughout the government and the private sector.
So people are listening to, these talking points, and we'll get into a lot. But as you can see, these prophecies are coming to pass because, as the scriptures say, in the book of Daniel 7:20, it says, "In the 10 horns," which represents the EU, all right, and of the other which came up, before whom 3 fell, all right, even of that horn that had eyes. This is speaking of America, all right, because out of the Spanish, French, and the British wars, eventually came the 13 colonies. Even of that horn, the little horn, which is the revival of Rome, that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things. And we're seeing some of those great things that America is speaking, whose look was more stout than his fellows. Okay, his look would be more stout than his fellows. And we're seeing that with Donald Trump, all right? And you're also seeing, all right, them using the 2 horns like a lamb, because we know the 2 horns like a lamb speak to the Democratic and Republican, system, all right? But it also speaks to a nationalist, all right, versus a globalist agenda, okay? Which Trump is supposed to represent a nationalist agenda, all right, for your people, all right, to save America from the globalist agenda, in which Biden, Obama, the Kamala, and, that whole administration, was leading America to. Trump is coming to save you, but as you can see, his look would be more stout than his fellows, okay? And we're seeing that with America and how they're talking, okay? As what it says in the NLT, it says, "This horn had seemed greater than the others," right? America, all right, of his, this whole this European Union, along with NATO. America is the one with the most power, okay? Basically, when you deal with it, these European countries are subordinate to America, all right? And you got Trump calling into Davos, boasting that he's going to put tariffs, on European nations if they want to, get things out of America. He's basically, again, it's all going to lead to the beast hating the whore. We're seeing all of these things play out prophetically right before our very eyes. It says, "This horn had seen greater than those others, and it had human eyes," all right, speaking to his science, how he's basically proclaiming, to outdo the Most High, but he's a mere human, and a mouth that was boasting arrogantly, all right, as it says here, his look would be more stout than his fellows, you see, and that's America amongst its European, coalition that has been made to forward the power of America. Well, now we're living in a time where a lot of these European countries are fed up with America, and you even see Trump calling into Davos, as we're going to get into, basically boasting, which we know it's all theater, okay? But it's very interesting. Getting back here, Matthew 24:24, "And there shall be false anointed," all right, false Christ. Doesn't mean someone saying that they're actually who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, but, basically saying that they're there to save you. They got the knowledge. They had their way is the way, okay? And false prophets that shall show great signs and wonders, see? Insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. You see what I'm saying? So they're going to come. They're getting ready to come with all manner of madness. You see what I'm saying? As we were, let's finish here. Habakkuk 2:4, "Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith." Okay, so the just is going to have to live by faith. Yea, also because this particular nation of people that would be ruling before the end came, Esau transgressed by wine, his philosophy, his democracy, his lies, All right, his ability to, wage, false flag wars, set up black swan events. That's the philosophy they live by. These people are complete Satanists. They don't have emotions. Okay, especially for, anyone that's not in the elite. Right? He is a proud man. The pride of thine heart have deceived thee, neither keepeth at home. Okay, and this speaks to Babylon the Great. They're all over the world, right? Okay, but it's headed by the elites using America, all right, as the hammer of the earth, who enlargeth his desire as hell and is as death and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. And we're living at a time where shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth in that which is not his. Woe to them that, have, hoarded all of the resources to themselves. You see what I'm saying? And left everybody else out to dry. That's the talking point. People are now identifying the elite as the problem. So they're getting ready, as this article here, all right, the WEF, all right, declares U.S. election null and void, predicts black swan events will reset humanity in 2025. Okay. And the World Economic Forum has officially kicked off in Davos, and the global elite led by Klaus Schwab, who I remember reading some information that he's really one of the red shield people. All right, that's where you get the term Rothschild, means red shield. All right, and red is tied to Esau, Edom, biblically. So these are definitely Edomites. Okay, it says, led by Klaus, was wasting no time to make their agenda crystal clear. According to Schwab, the recent U.S. election results are proof that America can no longer govern itself. All right, because they're against the talking. Basically, what America is standing for goes against, okay, what America proclaims to stand for under Donald Trump goes against the agenda of, all right, the global elite, all right, to establish NWO. So this is why you have Trump withdrawing from things like, the Who Dat Treaty. All right, but, he's doing that on one side, but on the other, he's meeting with a guy like Gil Bates. And Gil Bates is saying he's pleased with what Trump is talking about. So, again, there's a lot of enchantments. There's a lot of confusion. And if you're not rooted, you yourself can be confused by this. This is why the prophets have been set up. And this is why certain whistleblowers have been, authorized by the Lord to say things. It's the Lord putting the spirit on people to do these things. But even in that, there's a lot of snares, because free speech, although you see Trump, all right, boasting as if he's here to restore free speech, there's getting ready to be attacked on free speech. Now, he says there's going to be many black swan events. Okay. As a matter of fact, let's listen to some of this article, and then we'll move along, show you some of these things they're doing, because this devil is he's going in.
The World Economic Forum has officially kicked off in Davos, and the global elite, led by Klaus Schwab, are wasting no time making their agenda crystal clear. According to Schwab, the recent US election results are proof that America can no longer govern itself. His solution? Force the United States to bow to the authority of the globalist agenda through a series of covert and calculated attacks set to unfold in the coming year. In his deranged and chilling plenary speech, Schwab didn't mince his words. The World Economic Forum rules the world, and now it's time to bring the American people into compliance.
And when you hear Trump's talking points, you'd be like, well, Trump is against him. Well, why did he call into Davos? And, this and that is Trump really, yes, Trump is a pawn. He was put there. All right. And everything he's doing is according to a script. You see, but when you really listen to Trump and what he's boasting in and talking about, it also goes in line with the globalist agenda as well. You see, but again, the two horns like a lamb is it's one eagle, but it has two wings, and they're leading you to the you know, the same destination, while at the same time making you to believe that they're going against each other, man. Okay, and if you're not, you know, focused, man, it can really become confusing. These devils, man, as the scriptures say. Let's get the book of I think I had it up, Psalms 144:11. Call Halal Yahawah Bashim Yahawashi. Okay. Man. Let's start at 9. I will sing a new song unto thee, and we've been given a new song, the truth of these scriptures, man, the everlasting gospel. O power upon a psaltery and an instrument of 10 strings, I will sing praises unto thee. And the new song, okay, is dealing with the end of evil in the earth as well, the end of a wicked rulership, okay, ushering in righteousness, destruction of the wicked. That's all when you read Revelation 14, which I may just go into that chapter this week. I've done it before, but, you know, you can never, you know, because as you grow in this truth, all right, and you go through different experiences and you see certain things, scriptures you read years ago now have more power. You can read a scripture and just read it and be like, oh, that, you know, but a certain experience that you go through will bring more power to that scripture. You know what I'm saying? As you go through that experience. All right. Same with music. You can hear certain songs, you know, and be like, whatever. But as your ear hears certain songs, and over the years you mature, you go through experience, you can hear that same song. It can mean the world to you. All right. It could draw something out of you. So it says, Psalms 144:10, it is he that giveth salvation to kings, who delivered David his servant from the hurtful sword. And Esau, Edom is that hurtful sword. There's even a video of Trump dancing with the sword. Okay? See if we can bring that up. We'll get to this.
Welcome everyone to the.
We'll get to that, but yeah, Trump dancing with
And
the
I
sword.
hope the other ones don't hear me say that. But this is the one. And now we're going to cut a cake. And they said, could you be very, very careful?
That's right. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. I'm very proud of you.
And you see all of these different rituals and things they're doing. These all have inside meanings. Okay, you saw, because these devils are doing a lot. All right, I'm not going to fully get into it here, but you also saw where Joe Biden, all right, became a 33rd degree Mason.
Well, this just happened yesterday, but former President Joe Biden has been granted Master Mason status by the Prince Hall Association of Masons.
See that? So ultimately, he did his job. He made the mess that they needed, all right, to justify bringing the order that they're going to bring from the right. You see what I'm saying? These are all devils and elite, you know, elites put these people in positions to do certain jobs. So as soon as he's finished with his presidency, he's elevated to a 33rd degree Freemason.
This is a big deal. We'll talk about it. Post is saying that former President Biden has been granted membership by the PHA Masons. And here are some pictures of him being welcomed into their membership. And this is apparently a pretty big deal. And so a lot of people are saying that most presidents have been Masons. A lot of them have. But his association with the Masonic Lodge is now proof of his ties to esoteric mystery religions and secret societies.
Yeah, and we'll get more into it in another video, but don't you think it's interesting? All right, which he's always been a Freemason, but they're openly showing you that these are rituals playing out. These people who are put in positions to be presidents, they're just there all right, to do the bidding of the elite. Okay, anyway, let's go back to this guy dancing with the sword. We'll get into that in another video.
And I hope the other ones don't.
Because the sword...
Does anybody want some cake?
Can he catch?
Look at that. He's getting ready to bring the sword. As the scriptures say, hide me from the wicked, which are thy sword, man. Okay, remember it was going to be a cruel tyrant placed on over Egypt. This could be it. Okay, deliver the David in the house of David from the hurtful sword. Okay, Esau, Edom is that hurtful sword. Rid me and deliver me from the hand of strange children, whose mouth speaketh vanity, and their right hand is the right hand of falsehood. So after all Biden did, he gets elevated because everything he stood for was what the elite wanted. They wanted a big mess. They wanted people in an uproar. They wanted people drained, frustrated. They wanted grown men walking into girls' bathrooms, all right, with a hard on, with titties, right? Talking about I identify as a woman. They wanted people to be frustrated, man. So deliver me from the hand of strange children, whose mouth speaketh vanity, and their right hand is the right hand of falsehood, man. So your right hand represents your righteousness, but his righteousness is falsehood. Okay, deceit, deceptive practices, man. Let's go back here.
Before we dive in, join the People's Voice Locals community if you haven't already, and sign up to become a member of the eyes locked on the globalists, watching their every move like a hawk. Insiders at the forum report that Klaus Schwab's behaviour has taken a disturbing turn. Described as increasingly erratic, he is said to resemble a paranoid and delusional figure, much like Adolf Hitler at the Munich Olympics. Constantly fidgeting, sweating and looking over his shoulder, Schwab appears to be unravelling under the pressure, as the cracks in the globalist agenda become impossible to ignore. The elite may be reeling from the rise of the Trump administration, but make no mistake, they are far from retreating. In fact, they're doubling down on their efforts to regain control. And the World Economic Forum in Davos is their war room. Schwab openly declares that the World Economic Forum controls the world, and he was clear, the US Constitution must be discarded, with America reduced to a vassal state under the globalist New World Order.
The future does not just unfold. The future is shaped by us, and particularly shaped by us here in this room.
The globalist elite are not interested in the will of the people. They are not interested in competition or meritocracy. What they are interested in is communism and authoritarianism. And that means power consolidation at the most central of all levels. Listen to Ursula von der Leyen complain that the New World Order has not turned into reality, while complaining that competition is alive and thriving today.
The cooperative world order we imagined 25 years ago has not turned into reality. Instead, we have entered a new era of harsh geostrategic competition. The world's major economies are vying for access to raw materials, new technologies, and global trade routes. From AI to clean tech, from quantum to space, from the Arctic to the South China Sea, the race is on. As this competition intensifies, we will likely continue to see frequent use of economic tools, such as sanctions, export controls, and tariffs, that are intended to safeguard economic and national security. But it is important that we balance the imperative to safeguard our security against our opportunity to innovate and enhance our prosperity. In this spirit, we will need to work together to avoid a global race to the bottom, because it is in no one's interest to break the bonds of the global economy. Rather, we need to modernize the rules to sustain our ability to produce mutual gain for our citizens.
Make no mistake, the tide has turned, and we are living in an historical moment, and the establishment elite are terrified of the people. WF globalists are lining up to admit that they are in a dire predicament, while warning that a new plan must be hatched immediately to regain control and bring the US to heel.
Trump has done something no person in the world has ever done before. A dead man, a dead politician, has risen. somebody who 4 years ago at Davos, he's buried, dead politically, known to me. He's now returned. This is the greatest comeback in political history of a politician. And then, therefore, he thinks he can do anything.
We need to also factor in not only who's won, which is Trump, but who's lost, which is to say us. And I guess I would add throw in.
So basically, what Trump is talking about goes against their agenda of an NWO, the American Constitution, your rights to free speech, your rights, this, that. Okay, and they're sitting around talking about it, showing you that these elites, all right, they're all divided. There's something happening, but at the same time, we know it's all theater, and that they're getting ready to wage war on the people, because as the scriptures say, when he is about to fill his belly, yeah. Every hand of the wicked. It should be in this chapter. Let's see. Yeah, this is it. This is a good one. Job 20:15. He hath swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. God shall cast him out of his belly. Let's see here. That which he labored for, verse 18, shall he restore and shall not swallow it down, because his substance shall be according to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein. Basically, these Edomites are going to lose. It says, because he hath oppressed and forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away a house which he builded not. Surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. So they're not feeling quietness in their belly, because everything that they've done has been done by evil. So now they're hearing about it via, people coming onto these, alternative media platforms. The average working class is waking up to them. And now you got Trump, coming and boasting, that he's going to do this, that, America this, America that, which they're getting ready to wage war on the people. We'll get into a few things here real quick. It says, he shall not save that which he desired. Here's the point, verse 22. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Okay, your sufficiency is when you're getting ready to clap your hands and finish what you accomplished. So he's going to be in straits. Okay, that's why they're meeting here. Let's get Isaiah 47 real quick. Isaiah 47 and 12. Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, which there's many of them going out, wherein thou hast labored. Trump is an enchantment, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be, thou shalt be able to profit. If so, thou mayest prevail. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, and the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Okay, so they are wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Okay, they're meeting and they're wearied. Okay, because the Lord, things ain't panning out, or moving as fast as they thought it would. So now they're caught between a rock and a hard place, where they have to come down with great wrath upon the people to get their plan of a one world order set up. Okay. Meanwhile, you got Trump talking about America is going to be made great again. This, that. So when he is about in the fullness of his sufficiency, Job 20 and 22, he shall be in straits, and every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, God shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. So in the fullness of his sufficiency, he's going to be in straits, and every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. And the wicked, okay, represents the working class. Okay, the wicked, Imal, laborer, sufferer, wretched one. All right, laborer, suffer. And you have people getting on these platforms just cursing out the elites. The working class has been messed over, man, because now it's just rich and poor. Okay, and when you get James, the 5th chapter, right? amongst these people are the elect. Okay? James chapter 5 and 4. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth. And the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. See? So the elect are crying to the Lord to end this man's system. All right? Exposing things, testifying, witnessing. Then you also have people, you know, the working class. The people who you see doing the most complaining and doing all of these videos are the working class. All right? When you look at this dude hurting humanity, you know, with the, you know, call for an uprising. These are working class. Some of them Christians, some of them just regular everyday people. They're mad. They're going to these platforms and they're bringing things out. So finishing this real quick, and then we'll move on to these points I want to make to show you that they're getting ready to wage war on free speech.
Go into that. The epitome of the us who is losing here is Europe. That the European Union and by and large its member states have misread the direction where events were going. The causes that it is interested in, climate, human rights, some others, as well as the methods of diplomacy that it prefers, are simply being gradually kind of marginalized as something new, not necessarily something better, but something new moves into the center.
What do the elites have up their sleeve? According to insiders, they believe they have the technology to unleash a series of devastating pandemics, thanks to the work of evil doctors, including Dr. Anthony Fauci, and his teams of Chinese gain-of-function specialists working with the US taxpayer dollars in biolabs across the world. Klaus Schwab has unveiled his top 5 risks facing the world in 2025. And for anyone familiar with his career, it's hard to miss the striking resemblance to the WEF's own not-so-hidden agenda.
Our annual risk report 2025 identifies the foremost risks, such as armed conflicts, extreme weather events, misinformation,
right? So we're going to show you some of the very deceptive ways they're going to attack misinformation in online content, you know, while at the same time boasting to protect your free speech. All right? But he's telling you, look, this is what we need to handle in order to get what we want done. And as you can see, that one devil was complaining about Europe, all right, because the beast is going to eventually hate the whore. All right, the EU nations, you know, a lot of NATO nations, because Trump is cursing out NATO. He's cursing out the EU. All right, telling him he's going to do this and this and that. Eventually, all right, something's going to happen to where they're going to have to make a move on the American people so that that whole agenda can go in line with what they are ultimately trying to do in the global aspect.
disinformation, increasing divisions within societies, within countries, cyber espionage, and many more.
Schwab's vision of the future doesn't end there. With chilling precision, he's using behind closed-door meetings to lay out plans for artificial intelligence to monitor populations, clamp down on resistance, and ensure the WS policies are enforced without question. As these unsettling plans unfold, it's clear the global elite have no intention of stopping. The pandemics, the vaccines, the sweeping loss of freedom in recent years, these aren't accidents. They're part of a calculated effort to reshape humanity into a more obedient, manageable population. The only question left is whether people will continue to understand the severity of the threat coming from the globalists. The elites thought they could scheme behind the closed doors of Davos, plotting their future without us. But they were wrong. We're watching, and we have eyes and ears everywhere.
And ultimately, it goes into the fact that the man of sin will be revealed. This is the Lord's doing, that even he, all right, you know, which looks to be an Edomite, he's even, all right, you know, although this website, this is the peoplesvoice.tv, you know, it's decent, it's good information. You know, sometimes they do too much. You got to watch them. But even this whole aspect of people exposing the elite, that's of the Lord, man. You know what I'm saying? So we'll go back to this. Let's hop into a few things real quick, because we know, as they talk about, you know, free speech, because they're being caught left and right, all right? Isaiah 29:20, for the terrible one is brought to naught, Esau, and the scorner is consumed. All that watch for iniquity are cut off. See? That make a man an offender for a word, and that lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate. See? That lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate. Okay, so let's look at some of the snares that they're laying. All right, and what's happening here. All right, Florida man arrested for allegedly posting America needs one good, all right, you see the word, to be saved. Violent threats against President Trump. Okay, and look at him. Which this is going to be, along with the Northern Kingdom, this is going to be the face of domestic terror. All right, very, very soon. Okay, these devils got a lot up their sleeves. Okay, a Florida man learned the hard way that sharing your true inner thoughts online can lead to consequences. So sharing your true inner thoughts online, okay, can lead to serious consequences. And this all happening fast, man. Again, the devil is getting ready to come down with great wrath. If you look at what was happening in the UK, in certain parts of the UK, people were thrown in jail, for so-called inciting online resistance or insurrection. Okay, they just come into their house and arresting them based on things they, posted online. And when Trump says, okay, we have to catch up with China, that's the environment in China. Okay, and certain things are getting ready to take place. All right, let's get it in the book of Isaiah, the 10th chapter. In the first verse, woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees, that write grievousness which they have prescribed. And we've always showed you how they already have the legislation they want passed to be passed. Okay, it sounded good for Trump to talk about restoring free speech and this and that, right? All right, but really they're getting ready to bring a sword down on you people, and the sword is sharpened. That's why the scriptures say, deliver me from the wicked, which are thy sword. Okay, what's that? Psalms, the 17th chapter. All right, in the 13th verse, arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down. Okay, and he's being cast down through this word. Deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. All right, from men which are thy hand, which is his left hand, from the men of the world which have their portion in this life. And when we went into class yesterday, Edom was blessed, all right, with dominion of this age, this world here. But Esau is the end of the world. He's getting ready to go down. So when you read Revelation, the 12th chapter, all right, it prophesies that he's going to lose. He's going to be cast down. He's going to try to fight against the second coming of the Lord. But Revelation 12:10 says, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now has come salvation and strength. Okay. And the kingdom of our power and the power of his anointed, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power in day and night. So they're getting ready to bring a great accusation, all right, against you Israelites, right? But it's going to be all the people, alternative media sites, but they are laying a snare for those of us who reprove and negate. Okay, they're looking to make a man an offender for a word, okay, and lay a snare for him that reprove and negate. Okay. Shannon Atkins was arrested Friday night for allegedly making violent threats against Trump. Okay. According to the New York Post authorities, Atkins, after receiving a tip, and the West Palm Beach man allegedly admitting to making violent posts. Okay. Violent post. Okay. So already, okay, we're witnessing, all right, people in events taking place surrounding violent posts online, sharing your true inner thoughts online. All right, because another thing, we'll come right back to this, is you have this high school shooter, right? Purported writings from Antioch high school shooter shows his plans, thoughts before death. So there's another high school shooter, right? Which is a so-called black young man, right? And he wrote a manifesto. So now all of these shooters are just writing manifestos, and within the manifestos there's going to be things written that they're going to say, see, his online talking points are what sparked him to do this. And again, we know Trump is Nero. Okay? Did not Nero set up a false flag event to where he can blame the Israelites? Okay? This is all a part of it. As a matter of fact, see if I can bring this up here. I think the brother did it. This is a good video to watch.
Nero is known as one of the cruelest and most depraved of ancient Rome's 70 or so emperors. He ascended the imperial throne at the age of 16 when his scheming mother Agrippina poisoned his adoptive father Claudius. He actually started well, listening to the advice of his tutor, the philosopher Seneca, but he soon started down a darker path of forcing himself on anyone he wanted and eliminating those who dared to object, all the while pretending to be a sensitive, artistic soul who loved nothing more than poetry and
you hear that? Listen to what it said.
forcing himself on anyone he wanted and eliminating those who dared to object.
See, eliminating those who dared to object. Okay, but he presented himself as
all the while pretending to be a sensitive, artistic soul who loved nothing more than poetry and playing his lyre. When he tired of his mother, he sent soldiers with swords, and he kicked to death his pregnant wife Poppaea when she complained about him coming home late. After the Great Fire of Rome,
he was like a man's man. This is Trump, man. We believe through the Spirit, because all of those emperors from the ancient, when we say Rome has been revived, so are a lot of those feathers, those rulers from ancient Rome. And, there's an ongoing talking point of Nero being associated with the 666 MOTB breakdown. Even IUIC brought that out. Okay, how, Nero forced the people to bow, to a particular coin with his face on it.
Rome, which destroyed half the city, he blamed the Christians to deflect rumors that he had started it to clear buildings for his new palace, sending thousands to their deaths.
Listen to that.
Rome, which destroyed half the city, death his pregnant wife Poppaea when she complained about him coming home late. After the Great Fire of Rome, which destroyed half the city, he blamed the Christians to deflect rumors that he had started it to clear buildings for his new palace, sending thousands to their deaths. If even some of the stories about him are true, he deserves his reputation as one of history's greatest villains.
So check out this video. All right, Manatazak Banyamyam 144. Always beautiful videos. Okay, and I believe Esau took down his brother's channel. Brother in the Bay Area camp. And I don't want to, this is a good video, but I got to move on with these articles because it's a lot of information, and we damn near already at an hour, But he's known for burning down a region in Rome associated with a temple of Jupiter, and blaming it on the followers of Yahawashi because they had always talked about how fire was coming. So basically, he laid a snare for them that were proved in the gate back then. All right, but going back to this situation here, this dude from Nashville, Tennessee. All right, let's see here, this school shooter. All right. Pages of writings from the accused shooter at Antioch. So now you got Jake, so-called black men, writing manifestos, shooting up stuff and then shooting themselves. Which these are things Edomites are known to do. But now if you've noticed over the years, they've complained about white supremacist domestic terror, and they've linked it with black supremacist, all right, domestic terror, which there's no such thing as a black supremacist. Okay, so-called blacks don't own anything on a level to where they can be supreme here in a system of Edomite supremacy. Okay. Okay, we don't own the banks. We don't own the food production companies. We don't own the entertainment field. We don't control what comes onto the radio. There's no way that an Israelite can be supreme in a system of Edomite supremacy. But these are talking points that they use to push the notion, all right? Because again, as they're moving on this war path, okay, eliminating all opposition, all right, they're trying to figure out a very, clever way to come at the prophets. Again, they're laying a snare. So again, if you check out this guy here, all right, pages of the writings from the accused shooters, Antioch High School, showed a layout of the school, the weapons he wanted to use, and his thoughts about why he wanted to commit a shooting. See that? The shooter is Solomon Henderson, 17 years old, accused of killing, all right, certain people at the school, yada, yada, yada. Let's see here. He wanted to live stream his attack. So we're living in some crazy times, and these are a part of the events that they're going to use to get the what they want done. Okay? It says, in one of his first sentences, Henderson wrote that he was ashamed to be black. He was an anti-Semitic in his writings and posted a flyer from the Goyim Defense League, which is a neo-Nazi white supremacy group that wanted that visited Nashville this summer. Okay, and we know over the years, Edomite white supremacist groups, all right, so-called white supremacist groups have been at the forefront here in America of the number of the majority of the acts of the domestic terror, right? Now they've been able to link, all right, the blackface with that. It says Henderson said he was inspired by Candace Owens, a conservative black pundit who previously called Nashville home. Candace Owens influenced me above all each time she spoke, right? Now, if you've been listening to these news and prophecies that we've been doing, right, did not I say that they're going to start to use this controlled opposition, such as Candace Owens, as a means to attack free speech online? Okay? His writings showed that he had been thinking about violence for months. Okay? Let's see, there's another article here. All right, this is off a Time of Israel, the alleged Antioch shooter is also black. He's black. You see that? The material, this is why it's a snare to call yourself a black Hebrew Israelite. Okay? That's a political term that, accuses you. All right? Remember, the accuser of the brethren is cast down. Okay? But black is an accusation that's able to put you in a box, okay, to where you're dealt with a certain kind of way, you're looked at a certain kind of way. So it says the alleged shooter at Antioch High School was also black. The material seemed likely to have been posted by him, said the writer was ashamed to be black. The content also included a poster from the Goyim Defense League, whose members distribute anti-Semitic propaganda. You see where this is going. The apparent manifesto included a quotation from the manifesto shooter who attacked a mosque in New Zealand in 2019, all right, in which the shooter credited right-wing commentator Candace Owens with having influenced him. Okay, security experts disagree about whether the original statements was made sincerely, and Owens has condemned that attack, all right, and its perpetrator. But as you can see now, Henderson was allegedly radicalized online. These online spaces not only glorify violent fantasies, extremist ideologies, and mass killers, but also fuel offline violence. See? Radicalized online. Now let's listen to this this controlled op, Candace Owens, talking to a small hat Zionist troll, as they say here.
The world, and especially I would say Zionists in media, were demanding that we all pay attention. And when we began to pay attention, we didn't like what we saw. You cannot tell me to ever feel comfortable with 18,000 children being ruthlessly murdered. You can't get me to feel comfortable as a Christian with the amount of more explosives dropped, tons of explosives dropped on Gaza than were dropped in Hiroshima. This doesn't make sense to me. Gaza is 30 miles long, 7 miles wide. It's incredibly dense population. And this is, by the way, according to Haaretz, that 40,000 Palestinians have been murdered. I believe they're getting those numbers from the Gaza Health Ministry. And here's what I would like to say to you, Rabbi, since you're quoting scripture, okay? I think what's relevant is Revelation 3:9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. And I'm speaking directly to you, Rabbi Shmuley.
So you see that she brought out Revelation 3, and who's known for bringing that out? Okay, which when you read that, that's actually talking about, all right, Jews of the circumcision, right? But again, it can be twofold and used for these devils as well who call themselves Jews. So as you can see, people are saying she's cooking. Right? May God bless her. All right, she's good. And I believe she's controlled opposition, man. All right, she's married to an Edomite, which at the end of the day, she's used to what? Stir up things. She's used to say things that are true. All right, but some of her talking points are going to be used to tie to the Israelites, which now you have this shooter. All right, they just threw it out there. All right, claiming that ultimately a big part of why he did what he did, because he was radicalized online, all right, and he happened to, in his manifesto, big up Candace Owens and said that he watched her all of the time. So we believe that this is a part of that snare. This is the book of Psalms 37 and 14. The wicked have drawn out the sword, and you got to understand, their sword is just not their physical bombs and guns and stuff like that. Their sword is also their media, because through that they draw people into this propaganda, man. Okay, the wicked have drawn out the sword and have bent their bow to cast down the poor and needy. Because you'll listen to Candace Owens and you'll be like, hell yeah, she be cooking. I mean, They used her to bring out all kind of information. And see, the people like Candace Owens are used by the elite, right? To say, we told you so. See? We told you, Kamala, because she went hard, man. She brought out so much information on Kamala and who she really was. And, and if you were listening, you like, damn. See, so they use people like Alex Jones. They use people like, Candace Owens. They use people like Mel Gibson to say, we told you, because these people are controlled by them. Okay, again, they are very deceptive, man. This is controlled opposition. So now she's on record cursing out this small hat, talk about Revelation 3. They're going to eventually use all of these talking points to tie to who? Okay, you guessed it, baby, the bruise. Okay? All right. The bruise, the Hebrew Israelites, man. Let's read it again. Psalms 37 and 14. The wicked have drawn out the sword and have bent their bow to cast down the poor and needy and to slay such as be of upright conversation. But their sword shall enter into their own heart. And it looks impossible. It's like, how are we going to win? When they start to come with this propaganda and madness, how are we going to, get out of the accusation? Because the way that is going to be is going to look impossible. Just like when Nero blamed, all right, that fire on the followers of Yahawashi. You know what I'm saying? That which we had to go through that, but now they have even more control. And they are up to something, man. So these are things that we watch. You got a shooter just writing manifestos. You got Jake going online, crashing out. Online content, online radicalization is getting ready to be dealt with. Okay? Now you got the so-called Black Panthers popping back up. Now, over the years, these past couple of years, you've noticed these Israelite camps have just started partaking in marches all of a sudden. When did the Lord tell us, all right, that we would, you know, to conduct marches? Just gather a bunch of Jake and just march up and down the street chanting, you know, we keep the law, we keep the law, we do it raw, we do it raw, we so damn real, we so damn, fuck how you feel, we is real. You know, Jake just walking up down the street just chanting. I mean, notable, you know, IUIC, I believe Sakari conducted a march. It's like, what are you camps doing? Now all of a sudden, this Black Panther Party, which has been in the back pocket of the elites for years, they bring them out when they need certain talking points, when they need to link things together. They'll pull these niggas out of their back pocket and then they'll make up a stir. Remember years ago, you had this guy, Grandmaster Jay, okay, who, was, talking about, we sovereign in America, and, he had Israelite talking points, Egyptian talking points, Black Panther talking points. He was all over the place, which he was tied to Donald Trump. Okay? He was I forget, I don't know if I can, if you brothers remember that, we could find that point, but let's see if I can find Grandmaster Jay. Let's see here. The NF I believe Grandmaster Jay. Yeah, NFAC, this guy. Okay? Which apparently he went to jail. We don't know where he at. These people just pop up and, then disappear. But he was sentenced for pointing a rifle at officers during a protest. But again, for some reason, he was an Israelite too. But then when you listen to him, this dude was all over the place, man. But I believe he's in jail now. I don't, which we believe it's all a ploy, but this dude was all over the place. But I believe he was with Trump at one point. As he was at a Trump speech. It was something he was doing. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Ha, 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 ha. Let's talk about it. For all you YouTubers who jumped the gun, listening to Tariq Nasheed, believing that Grandmaster Jay was a fucking agent, don't y'all feel stupid today? And for those who haven't seen the video,
which whatever, you ain't gotta listen to all that, We cursed this guy out, we cut him, and people were saying we scared, but he ended up he's an agent. But here it is, he's at this Trump rally, you know what I'm saying? But then he said he was into politics, but then he started to see, his people were misrepresented, so he used his talking point, his platform to turn into a radical, but again now, because he was talking about if another black man gets, messed over by the police, we showing up. So they would just show up marching, but apparently at one of these rallies, he pointed a gun at a police officer, and now he's doing 7 years, which these are agents, man. There's a lot of deception going on. But now all of a sudden, you got the Black Panther Party announces emergency armed march against genocide, poverty, and MAGA Trumpism. See that? Let's see if we can get this.
Demanding, number one, those police are arrested and fired. Number two, their names are released to the public. 3, we also want the defunding of the police. And 4, them being charged with witness tampering and tampering with evidence. It has been reported that they have actually manipulated certain cameras and documentation in the area to cover up their crimes. Don't cover up your crimes, no. But we want you to know, family, Flint is ground zero for the people's movement in 2025. We are marching against genocide, ethnic cleansing, human rights violations, and MAGAism as this new administration comes in to oppress black people, targeted groups, women, immigrants. We are fighting and standing up against that. Some ask us, why march on? There was a time when the people marched unarmed. We would not accept any violence against us today. We would use self-defense in an armed way if we have to.
We will use self-defense in an armed way if we have to.
But again, we want you to know.
You, Jake's been marching since the 60s. Where you go? Where'd it get you? Civil rights was set up by your enemy. The Black Panther Party, though they tried to start off with good intent, has been infiltrated. It's over. But, you know, they'll remain silent for some time. But Esau Edom pulls them out of his back pocket when needed. All right, because he's getting ready to make a move. We ain't fit to be out on them streets for too much longer, man. Okay? These videos won't be online forever. Okay? Although they can't directly come at us, because as the scriptures say, we're well known but unknown. Let's get that. What's that in? Yep. Yep. Speaking of the men of the Lord, man. 2 Corinthians 6:3, giving no offense in anything, that the ministry be not blamed. So if you're out there with guns, okay, ultimately you're doing something that could get the ministry blamed. Now, however, they're going to paint us in a particular manner any way it goes. But you shouldn't be doing anything to help them. All we can do is go into the scriptures. The scriptures are where we have power at. Okay? What are you out there with a sword for? Now, are you wicked for having a sword? No, but why should it be linked to the ministry? That should be something. And really, you don't want your enemy to know what you got. But see, Jake is self-willed. All right? And they don't think, all right, about the well-being of the people following, and they're thinking about their own belly. You see? And when it's all said and done, y'all are going to get the attention and the smoke that y'all wanted. Burning flags. Oh, yeah. Oh, they're burning flags. They want to come against the American people. They want to do this. They want to do that. Well, I got a message for anyone. All of that is coming. Okay? But we are going to be numbered amongst the transgressors, just like Yahawashi was. But the beauty of it is the Lord knows who had the right intent and who not. So these things are all coming down the line, but your actions will be considered. So you can't just say, well, they're going to call us terrorists anyway. So all right, we'll see. Anyway, giving no offense in anything, that the ministry be not blamed. But in all things approving ourselves as the ministers of God, in much patience, afflictions, and necessities, and distress, and stripes, imprisonments, tumults, labors, watchings, fastings. This is what we got to do. By pureness of knowledge, long suffering, kindness, by the Holy Spirit, by unfeigned, by love unfeigned, by the word of truth, by the power of God, by the armor of righteousness on the right hand and on the left, by the honor and dishonor, by evil report and good report, as deceivers yet true. They say we deceivers, but yet we telling the truth. Okay? As unknown yet well known. See? As unknown yet well known. So they try to act like we're just little insignificant. But we see you put you got your police parking in front of us. Y'all got cameras everywhere. Y'all are very worried about this word. See? The enemy knows what we represent. But he knows also he can't just run and try to brutally attack us. He has to set a precedent. He has to set a narrative, man. He's very cunning and deceptive, man. And he's been doing it for years. All of these situations that come and go and pop up and go. No, he's going to lump all of that together. All right. And vocab is going to be elevated through this all. He's going to be used as one to say, okay, when all of these accusations come, when you have these false camps do things and, you know, sleeper agents and, you know, that's amongst us, they're going to do things and it's going to seem impossible. Okay, even some of you who are listening to us, y'all gonna listen, they go use our voices to start doing videos with their AI. They could take your voice and do a whole video. They could take your video or your face and put it into a video and make it to seem as though you were on the highway saying this. These are the type of things that are coming down the pipe. Okay? It says, as unknown yet well known. See? We're unknown, we're under the radar, low key, but we're well known and our presence is being felt. So Esau is getting ready to try to make a man an offender for a word. Okay? This is the book of Isaiah 32:4. The heart of the rash shall understand knowledge. The elect woke up, man. And the tongue of stammers shall be ready to speak plainly. All right? He may run that, read it, we've read these prophecies. The Holy Spirit's on us. Now we're out on the highways speaking plainly. The rash and the stammer is speaking to Jake, because Jake is just known for, in the system of Edomite supremacy, we're known for, just being rash, aggressive, stammers, always laughing, mocking, don't take nothing serious. But now the Lord's put a spirit on us to where it's like, oh, so they're very worried. See, the vile person shall no more be called liberal. Esau is getting called out. Okay, nor the churl said to be bountiful. For the vile person shall speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity to practice hypocrisy and utter error against the Lord. Okay, they're boasting themselves to be into the Bible, but everything they're doing goes against the scriptures. And now people are picking up on these things. They're getting caught left and right, man. Okay, to practice hypocrisy and to utter error against the Lord, and to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. See that? He's trying to cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. And the dry bones have been nourished by this word. See? But there's going to be a point where he cuts it off. The instruments of the churl are evil. A churl is a very ill, mean nigga. Okay? And Esau is that. He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh right. So he has the monetary means to pay off groups of people or leaders who have people who sincerely follow them, thinking they're about, the people, but he uses them to then wage war against the overall, narrative, which is Jake. Okay? Israel. So why were these groups marching over all of these years? Why with guns and it's just marching and screaming and what was that all about? Why were Israelites participating in that? We believe that they got the order to do that so that people can start to see these things and be like, oh, the Israelites march. Then you got that's the Black Panther march. Then you got this, then you got that. They're going to lump it all together. Okay. And online radicalization will be one of the main things that are attacked by this administration as well. You see? And the World Economic Forum is all about it. Okay? We ain't got to finish that. So the goal, as a matter of fact, I'll just have to, maybe do these in another lesson. The WEF announced pseudonymous digital ID system with plans for social credit score and carbon allowance. Because when it's all said and done, okay, this is where's the one I wanted to. The EU clamping down to protect free speech in the U.S. on pre-teaching. Pentagon orders pause on social media accounts. There was this particular one that I wanted to get into, but let's listen to this real quick. from hurting humanity. F is still up. Here we go.
Welcome everyone to the Hurting Humanity channel. Some of the topics being discussed at Davos, in addition to artificial intelligence governance, which of course Donald Trump is bringing to the United States of America while playing the role of being opposed to the globalists at the World Economic Forum. He's literally bringing in their infrastructure. But one of the topics we hear year in and year out is being brought up again, and that is putting an end to online anonymity, which means that people will not be allowed to remain anonymous on the internet, which means the digital ID. Now, this is something that's obviously very important to me and should be very important to you. Now, it's important to me because I like to do what I do online and remain anonymous. I'm not looking for any attention. I'm not looking for people to show up at my front door. I'm not looking for anything other than getting the truth out, getting my opinion out, which most of the time is obviously truthful, as I've backed up over the years. Doesn't mean that I'm not wrong from time to time, but they're obviously hell-bent on this because they like and need and have to control the media, which of course includes the alt-right media. And you see the alt-right media shilling around, throwing their face on every billboard they can. Even some of the embarrassing things I've talked about with the Daily Wire, making Hollywood-like movies. This should be about getting the truth out. And if they can't control the truth, then that's a problem.
See, Jacob's hand is on their heel. And people like this guy hurting humanity only help our cause. Okay, the things that these, because he could be an Edomite, all right, could be, whatever. But they help our cause. There's a spirit, all right, rising up against the elite in this plan. And online is how it all really started. Okay? This word spread online, and that has led to everybody because, like we just said, we're unknown but well known. Really, these style of videos started with the Israelites. The videos coming against the Western woman started with the Israelites. Okay, doing videos to where you're outside or driving. That all started with the Israelite. Going into videos where you're going into the news and you're linking it with the Bible. The Israelites started that, man. Point blank, period. So though they try to downplay us as these, and particularly the apostles, bishops, and elders at Greatmillstone. Not to say there weren't other notable men who were leaders of different camps and sects like that didn't have their influence. But we were there when this word first came onto YouTube, and we're not being biased, all right? Because, we follow these men. We saw what YouTube was and what it became, all right? And we saw which camps were really on fire and how the whole world started to change, okay, from this word going out, okay? Let's get, damn, it's already an hour and something, man. Sheesh. Oh, well, I'll do another one. I'm gonna, because I had a bunch of these other articles I wanted to tap into as well, but hey, time is flying, man. What's that? What am I looking for? Second ESDRAS 6, where they should all see together. Speaking of, for the word is of the end. Yep. Second ESDRAS 6 and 15. And therefore, when it speaketh, be not afraid, these prophecies. For the word is of the end, and the foundation of the earth is understood. These things were all written from the foundation of the earth. They just have to play out. And why? Because the speech of these things trembleth and is moved. For it knoweth that the end of these things must be changed. So this word is leading to the world changing. Okay, so as you read down, verse 18, it says, and behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and will visit them that dwell upon the earth, and will begin to make inquisition of them, investigation, what they be, all right, that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled. And when the world, all right, so this man is being investigated. So now he has to what? Okay, the internet, which they say the internet was the worst thing that happened to them. They said we should have never allowed the internet, but it was all of the Lord. And when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then I will show these tokens, and the book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall all see together. That's ultimately this word, all right, reaching the internet, being used by the internet to reach the four corners of the earth. The Holy Spirit being sent, all right, to the men of the Lord has led, okay, to an influx of this word going out and everybody seeing it. You see what I'm saying? So while that's happening, the devil is like, oh, damn. So that goes into what we always read in Revelation, the 12th chapter. Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he know that he hath but a short time.
To them, they must control the narrative. And I'm going to play for you Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez and this speech that he gave about being anonymous online. And this is how they work in the casual people out there, because they use words like crime. So people automatically think when they hear a speech like this, well, yeah, somebody could be online going after kids, being a predator on the internet, which of course they have no problem with because they can.
Or they could be listening to Candace Owens talking about the small hats, being anti-Semitic and this and that. All right, shooting people.
Track your IP address. They do track and monitor us on the internet, but they want a digital ID overall. But they could remove all of these internet websites from the actual internet and prevent this problem that happens with perverted older men and young children. But they don't want to do that. All they care about is people like me and you. And they care about what he says, influencing public conversation, because people who are online should not be able to be anonymous because
Esau has lost control of the narrative.
They could be a threat to democracy, which means threatening their global conspiracy that is already in place, that the wheels are churning, that they've already tricked people into believing that there's some of these characters like Donald Trump who are opposed to the New World Order, when in fact they're bringing in the New World Order infrastructure. That's what their job is. They don't want people out there to wake up to that, because their power ends when people wake up, when people realize that this entire New World Order is controlled and operated through technology. And the only way to push back, for people out there who might be new to this, the only way to push back is to start removing yourself from dependency on tech and not allowing the government to move forward with technology mandates, like forcing you into online banking or forcing you into an online ID or forcing you to have to buy and sell on the internet. You know, you could actually search the Google algorithm or the Google AI. You know, you type it in now and Google gives you an AI answer, and you could ask Google, what is the beast? And even Google's demonic AI says, yeah, some believe that the internet will be a tool used to facilitate the mark of the beast. The belief is based on the idea that the internet will become a vital tool in the rise of a one world government. It's not.
There you go. And this was an article I wanted to really get into, but I'll do it in another video. But what will you do when you can't buy or sell anything on the internet without your UN mandated digital identity chip? And it's all of these different groups, the WEF, the UN, the this, the that. It's just, Esau is confusing, man. So the scriptures just identify them as the wicked. Okay, because they'll change their last names, they'll change the wording under a particular law that people were cursing out, and you know, you'll never be able to track these people down, man. But imposing mandatory digital ID on every nation, which that's what it's going to come to. All right, you're going to have to identify yourself to get onto the internet as these black swan events and false flags increase, and they are going to increase. This year started with all kind of left-hand operations. It says, imposing mandatory digital ID on every nation on the entire planet has become a primary goal for the global elite. It isn't going to happen tomorrow, but eventually the plan is to get virtually everyone in the world onto the system. This is the modern day Tower of Babel. Okay, everybody come up under this one world order and government, man. Okay, and everybody who you see there, they're all playing their part in doing it, man. Okay, but you do have people who wholeheartedly are against some of these plans that are within the system. So there's a divide. Okay, and a lot of these European countries are fed up with America, whose look is more stout than his fellow, as we went into earlier. So while the elite all have this plan, they don't agree on everything, which works in our favor. It says if the global elite get their way, a time will come when you will not be able to buy or sell anything on the internet without logging into your UN mandated digital identity chip. You won't be able to go to school, get a job, or open a bank account without your UN mandated digital chip either. Okay? Things are going to get so bad that you getting a job or you keeping your job is going to be tied to what you post online. Your whole digital ID will show your employer, okay, who you are, what you do. And they already know. For certain of us, you know, your job has already been notified about you and you're being watched and tracked. But as these laws pass, okay, as they are, you know, have these particular unrighteous decrees already, all right, but they're going to need the events associated with these particular things, all right, to bring it in. So what did he say? Like, we ain't worried about that damn election. We need these events that's going to ultimately take place to reset, all right, this whole thing, man. And a big part of it is the digital ID. You're not going to be able to just get online posting stuff. So people are getting ready to crash out, and they're going to say this is the again, problem, reaction, solution, man.
Even inside the forum itself, the people are rising up, not just from the outside, but from within their very own ranks. A whistleblower, someone who has seen the darkness firsthand, has come forward and revealed the truth about Klaus Schwab and his sinister agenda. The global elite are desperate to keep this hidden, but the truth is like a flood. It cannot be stopped. The globalists are trying to make us all poorer and destroy what's left of the economy. The Biden regime is following all of the WF diktats to the letter. They literally want you to own nothing and pretend to be happy.
Yeah, so you see these dudes, they're making money. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what he's talking about here.
Together would ensure the US government and agencies have more integrity. In an article for the New York Times, Grant admits that the globalist elite are losing the propaganda war and suggests that the public can't be trusted to vote. Accordingly, Grant argues that elections should be scrapped and Americans should be ruled by the global elite for their own good. Per the article, officials have been working hard to safeguard elections and assure citizens of their integrity. But if we want public office to have integrity, we might be better off eliminating elections altogether. If you think that sounds anti-democratic, think again. The ancient Greeks invented democracy, and in Athens, many government officials were selected through sortition, a random lottery from a pool of candidates. In the United States, we already use a version of a lottery to select jurors. What if we did the same with mayors, governors, legislators, justices, and even presidents? To replace the current election system, the WF is advocating for randomly selecting officials from a pool of candidates. But there's a catch. The pool of candidates will be selected by what Grant calls guardians of the democracy.
Yeah, the technocracy, man. The left-hand priesthood.
Which the fine print admits are the globalist elite in Davos. Let's face it, the elite are now running scared and are desperate to silence outraged voices of the people who are demanding justice for their crimes against humanity.
Right, and they need a reason to bring that charagma, that chip, to identify you, to surveil you under the skin.
Not hidden. The problem is that people are paying attention to ridiculous issues. They're getting sucked in and drawn in by the alt-right media into debating and arguing things that shouldn't even be arguments and debates in the first place. And of course, people like Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez bring up things like crime and hate speech, which also shouldn't exist in the first place. Hate speech, because hate speech could be turned into anything they want to turn it into. And Democrats are going to start feeling that now with Donald Trump in power, that they can't use their opinions or say their opinions online anymore because they're about to feel a massive censorship wave. Hate speech, of course, is anybody who questions the current government regime, who exposes the New World Order, or, of course, anybody who can influence public conversation is somebody who is going to be a target of people like Pedro Sanchez. Listen to his speech where he talks about one social media user ID, a full-on end to anonymity, and, of course, nobody out there should be able to influence public conversation, except, of course, for them and their controlled media, the left and the right, of course, included.
I propose putting an end to anonymity on social media. In our countries, no one can walk the streets with a mask on their face or drive a car without a license plate. No one can send packages without showing an ID or buy a hunting weapon without giving their name. And yet, we are allowing people to roam freely on social networks without linking their profiles to a real identity. This paving the way for misinformation, hate speech, and cyber harassment. because it is facilitating the use of bots, and it is allowing people to act without being held accountable for their actions. Such an anomaly cannot continue. In a democracy, citizens have the right to privacy, not to anonymity or impunity.
So they're getting ready to hone in. They're getting ready to come down on online content. Okay, and this is going to give them the reason, okay, to establish, okay, that digital ID system, all right, here in America and all over the world. And they're already doing it. Okay? And your digital ID is going to have everything they need to know about you, including what you post online, what you believe, what you think, and it's going to be tied to your social credit score. When you heard Trump say we have to race with China, okay, that's the environment in China. Okay, and then it'll only go even they'll go even further. All right, with that Harab, all of that is coming. We here. Okay, you see that? This is that 666. All right, they try to secretly put it there, but we're here, man.
Because with those two, social coexistence would be impossible. That is why I believe we must push forward the principle of pseudonymity as the functioning element of social media, and force all these platforms to link every user account to an European digital identity wallet. This way, citizens could use nicknames if they want, but in the case of a crime, public authorities will be able to connect those nicknames to real people and hold them responsible.
You see that?
Because accountability is not an obstacle to freedom of speech. It is an essential complement to it. On social media user, or it's much better to say, one social media user, one real ID. This is the only way to really ensure that minors do not access inappropriate content, that people who commit crimes are banned or prosecuted from social networks, and that the millions of fake profiles that exist and influence the public conversation are removed.
So this has been a plan of theirs for a long time, and we're going to have to wait and see how Donald Trump starts implementing a digital ID moving forward. We know...
Right, because he's boasting in free speech. So, again, we are in some interesting times, man.
That on the surface, Donald Trump is bringing these things in, but he's using deception to make people not even realize that he's bringing about these New World Order infrastructure strategies like AI governance, like buying Canada and Greenland and the Club of Rome's 10 Kingdom plan. And the digital ID is likely going to loom in America based on all of the stuff and the psychological operations you hear with the border, and how we'll be able to track people with digital IDs who cross the border, because they won't be able to cross without a digital ID. There won't be any more fake IDs. There won't be anybody sneaking across the border because they'll have a surveillance state in place. So this has obviously been a globalist plan for quite some time. They've talked about the digital ID at Davos for many, many years, and they're going to continue to hammer it home. And part of the reason they're not pushing it forward yet is because they need to hammer it home first. So they talk about crimes. They talk about young kids online who might be getting bullied is one of the narratives they like to use. So parents out there think about their kids and naturally care about their children, hopefully this day and age. And they say to themselves, well, I don't want my child to get bullied by somebody online. We can't track them down. Or, of course, they like to use this stuff with the events that the government themselves create at schools and other false flag events that they actually carry out themselves with Operation Orion. And they want you to think that these kids are online and they're writing all these dangerous things online, but they're anonymous. And if we actually were able to find who they were in the first place with the digital ID, then they wouldn't be committing these crimes in the first place. These are all things that they're using. These are tactics they're using to convince people that a digital ID is needed. They need a digital ID to track and monitor everything you do, every movement you make, literally every breath you take, which is the carbon footprint, which of course they're talking about again at Davos, but literally every single thing you buy. And some people out there say, well, I already buy stuff online. Look, all this smart tech is to track and monitor every breath you take, every move you make. It's literally that insane and it's that deep. And anybody out there who is too simple-minded to realize it, wake up. Because most people go, well, I don't care. What do they want to track how many times I fart? Oh yeah, they do, because haven't you heard that's part of your carbon emission as well? I mean, Bill Gates has openly talked about that, right? Passing gas, well, that goes against your carbon credit system. That's what the goal is, to enslave humanity, and a digital ID is needed. And of course, the thing they fear, the only thing they fear when it comes to anonymity on the internet is people like us. Because once they silence us one time, we won't be able to come back. You won't be able to have 85 channels going on 86 soon.
See that? Man.
Right? For anyone out there that gets that reference. You won't be able to constantly make channels on YouTube and fight against them, which most people don't do. Most people give up, and then they go where the government tells them to go, right? They want you to do what they tell you to do. Haven't you noticed? They remove you from YouTube. And what do they want you to do? They want you to go to Rumble. How many comments do I get per video? Go to Rumble. Go to Odyssey. I'm good. No, thank you. It's a vacuum. It's a conservative vacuum. It's a conspiracy theory vacuum. Who are you going to wake up on Odyssey that's not already awake? Who are you going to wake up on Rumble that's not already?
All right, so you can keep watching that. You know what I'm saying? And we use, you know, hey, we'll move to whatever platform we, you know, need to get this word out. But we know eventually these words are going to be taken offline. Again, two horns like a lamb that spake as a dragon. All right, free speech. All right, and this word is getting ready to, all right, be taken off the net. So Lord willing, y'all edified. Shalom.